Hi, I'm Vince Weston, and I've been showing you a lot of my previous builds, but today I decided I'd finally show you my current one. This one's based on the Revell Blacktop Warriors Alley Rat. Dun, dun, dun. It was actually one of 3 series that they released back in, I think it's '97. This one's actually a reissue with a change of a kit that they called Sneaky Pete, and basically outside of the decals, it's exactly the same kit, but they changed it up to paint it and put on, making it look more post-apocalyptic. So, the blame that goes for this nightmare of mine goes to Dr. Cranky and Chris Chapman and MC Model Works and Classic Plastic 101. Dr. Cranky, because he gave me the idea to do a post-apocalyptic or zombie hunter type vehicle, and the rest because you guys have started me on the dark side using craft acrylics. One thing that I discovered when I started doing this build is that this kit apparently sells now for about $90 since it's never been reissued, and this was a one-time issue for the series of Blacktop Warriors. The other thing I discovered when I opened the box was most of the look comes from, let's see, I'll bring that in a little bit, the decals. As you can see, they are the panels, the armored panels along here, and also the windshield and the back window are covered. And I looked at that and I went, ugh, I don't like that. That'll just look like decals on it. So I decided, yeah, I'm not going to use that. By the way, I've seen this decal sheet listed for $4.95. Just that sheet itself with, you know, the optional road signs with everything's got an X through it and some bullet holes. But anyway, that's that. So I'll give you a look at what I did. I changed it so that I actually added custom panels of my own to it. They're mostly so they would look like armored panels. They're painted in a greenish color. I'll see if I can zoom in here a little bit to give you a little bit better look. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay. But all the panels have been glued in place. I'll get my big fat finger in. There's 2 panels on the top of the hood, panels on the sides. This one on this side I split, and then there's door panels to create armor. And one of the things I thought about when I was doing post-apocalyptic was that you'd probably use scraps of whatever you get, so you'll notice this panel doesn't really cover the whole door. It's wedged more in that way. It's just cut off. And instead of making it look like they're bolted on, I tried to make it look more like it's a sloppy weld job of someone who's not really a great welder to add on to that. Let's see. Right at this time, I kind of think that I'm about 50% done with this build. That's because my original plan continues to evolve and change as I work on it. One of the original thoughts that I had, of course, was for these bars to protect the tires from side hits, to armor protect them a little bit. And this is just, actually it's sprue that I cut and twisted and drilled holes into the body and connected them onto there. One of the things that I've come on now, well, I should actually tell you about the other old stuff, but the newest thing, which is actually holding me up, is I decided I needed to put some armor on the front windshield. And I'd like to do some sort of a tube wire type of situation, or a tube type thing. But if you know a pickup truck, there's really not a lot here to connect to. So I got to kind of figure that out, which is kind of driving me a little mad as to, do I attach a panel to the side and then run the tubes through? Do I connect a tube to the top and to the bottom and then run the tubes through there? I'm just kind of stumped at the moment. So anyway, one of the other modifications I made to keep moving along here, I'll move that out of the way, is the back windshield. Another supposedly sloppy weld job, which is rusting. I used actual window screen on this and pulled it in a little bit closer, or at an angle to make more of a diamond shape. One of the things I early on decided was I needed some sort of protection, and would be an armor panel to cover the windows. And I've worked out these hinges, let's see if I can get it in camera, which are actually made, originally I made them out of plastic, using sheet plastic and tubing and rod. But once I painted them, they didn't really hold up. So I've made this set out of aluminum can. Let's see if that'll focus. So it actually does move. I'm going to use a earth magnet at the inside the body with a handle on here. So when I pull it up, it'll hold in place with the magnet, and then I can still open them. They're mounted approximately here. That's really approximate, to cover the side windows. I figured the vent windows was, you needed them to open anyway, to get some air in, and it just worked out that way, that it worked better, so that I can, actually flip them down, and they could sit on the truck like this. The other thing I discovered when I opened the kit was that this upper piece, which is with a which holds the lights and the horns, was separate from the actual top, and it looked like there was originally a sunroof there. So I decided that would make a good hatch to pop up out of the out of the cab. You could push that up, come up through it, and shoot out from there with my big fat fingers in the way. So this will be able to operate also, sitting on top. The kit comes with a 350, and this is what I've done with it so far. You'll notice the hoses are a little long. This is actually a jewelry tube, and I've put some wire inside for it to help retain its shape. It was about the right size for a radiator hose. And then I've made heater hoses also, which are of course a little bit shorter. And I've mucked it up a little bit to make it look like it's dirty and leaking oil. And I haven't put the headers on yet because the actual kit, the headers go along underneath the body and come up to stacks. If you look here on the box, they come up to stacks that run along the side between the cab and the bed. I figured I needed a couple of accessories, so one of my starting out points was that I made a couple of shovels. I figured you got to bury the body somehow, and I used sophisticated finishes rusting on these. Wish I knew about the plastic bag when I was doing all the rusting, using sophisticated finishes, because it took me lots of coats to get it to pretty much that type of situation. I still have a lot more stuff to add to the bed. A couple of things I did make so far are a couple of bed rolls. Let's see if I can get them. Oops, he's not going to stay at an angle, but a couple of bed rolls. Those are actually made from, they're actually like Charmin wipes that I let dry out. I rolled them up and painted them over. I figured one blue, one red. And then I had strapped it with a wire in the center when I put the glue on. So then I just put a piece to make it look like it's got a strap holding it together, and I keep falling out of frame, sorry. But anyway, that's those. One of the other things I'm going to probably put into the bed is this, and I don't know how well it's going to show up. This is a Chimneyville cigarette machine. Of course, money is going to be worthless post-apocalyptically, so I figured if cigarettes are good enough for prison, then they'll probably be good enough on the street to trade for whatever. So I figured I'll lay this in the bed after I get it painted, and I actually printed and scaled down windows that are like the cigarette machine pieces to go into the slots here that I keep pulling out of frame. So that's that. It'll be in the bed. Also, I got lots of work. I just finished soaking this in bleach white to get the resin release off of it. One of the other things that the kit doesn't include is a battery. So I made my own optimums. Yeah, that's the front, actually. Hopefully that's focusing a little bit and is visible. I figured red tops are sufficient. I didn't think yellows would be necessary. It's basically 6 pieces of round tubing and 2 pieces of flat stock cut down. And then I noticed that the new ones actually have these little connectors on the sides. I still have to paint the one for negative, but it gives you a pretty good view. Of course, I don't have the decal, so I just put a little red splotch in the front for that piece of the Optima logo. It does have little pins I just drilled through and put some wire in there so I can do the top attachment points also. Come on, camera. Hopefully that's focusable enough. That's a couple of the things. By the way, the nose is a flip up, and of course the engine's not in it at the moment because it's just this is just a quick mock-up I was doing just so I could get this on camera. One of the other things I decided to do, I guess I should talk about the doors, which actually goes with the interior. These are actually bats. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can probably figure out what I'm talking about on each door. I don't know why I decided on bats. I guess because I didn't like the idea of a rat. So I guess this is more of an alley bat than an alley rat. But those are there. Kind of that also grew into what I did with the interior, which, if I can get it out of there, is that under Dr. Cranky's advice, I went out and found a fabric pattern of flying bats, and I printed it out. And after I've softened up the seats a little bit, I think you can see that, yeah. I've made the seats look a little worn with heat to push them in. May not be so visible in the front. I glued those on and put a little blood stain there, as if one of the guys got wounded in the shoulder and they had to get out of there quick, so he just bled on the thing for a little bit. The seats are pretty dirty looking. I did a pretty good wash of dirt and crap inside the interior entirely. I'm sure it's going to be too dark in the inside to really see the base. The one problem and bummer I had was I lost the shift. It was originally like a hammer shift, and it's gone into the carpet monster, so I just took a straight pin and replaced it just to have a floor shift back in it. By the way, this color is near black from, I think it's Anita's version, and I used a gray acrylic. The body is black acrylics, and actually I sprayed this all over a ruddy brown primer. That's the word I'm looking for, sorry. A ruddy brown primer, so when I scratched off a lot, it gave me some more texture to it and some depth. As you can see, I didn't really like trying to figure out how to do a wood panel again, in bed. So I basically just rusted up the cross members, and I used, it's an acrylic, I wish I could remember the color, but it's like old barnwood or something. But I made this piece to fit in the bed to give it a metal base, which I thought would be more useful. And then basically scratched off the acrylic paint with my fingernails and put some more dull coat on it. I've still got some rusting to do. This was also a test piece I used for the sophisticated finishes, so a lot of the bottom is done just completely as rust from that. The major portion of the truck that I used, or the sophisticated finishes on, is actually the chassis and frame. If I can get in there. Whoops, I'm losing my wheels. Sorry. And this took me quite a while to actually get done because I didn't know about using a plastic bag when you put the antiquing solution on. One of the things I also did with this was I used some black acrylics along the edge because I figured the rust is working its way up. So the top edge here is still basically black, where, you know, the sides and bottom are completely rusted. You can, if you look really close here, you can see some of the black that I used in there to simulate still paint still involved in there. I've also touched up the shocks to add a little bit of silver there. I have to weather that a little bit more. I think it looks a little too bright. But I figure the inside of the shock shouldn't be completely rust. The pumpkin on the back, of course, is actually a part of the kit that I used directly. And I've just been weathering that with splashes of different things to try and get it to look a little aged, but still chrome. Once again, I still had a lot of work to do on getting everything together. The rear wheels are insets, and they're not going to come out so well in the dark here. But you can see they're rusted on the inside to take down the chrome a little bit to make it look like it's chipped and rusted on the chrome. The fronts show a little bit better, I think. I hope it shows up a little bit better on camera, of having more rust to it and less chrome. I figure this gives it a better dingy, nasty look. So now you can see I've stripped the whole thing apart. So that's most of that, of what I've done so far. And like I said, I still got a long way to go and lots of things to fix. The tape here is actually because the crossbar split when I was working on something. I think I was sanding something or whatever, so this bottom piece of the window has broken out, so just for the mock-up, I just put tape over it. I still have to figure out how I'm going to dirty up the windshield, but I figure I got to get the cross braces figured out first. This doesn't have windshield wipers, so I was kind of thinking along the same lines as what the decal shows, which would be to have like a whoops over there wiped off smudge points with dirt around it. So I'll do something along that line. But that's about it for right now. The one thing I was going to include for you to look at was the two other kits that are part of this build, or this the Blacktop Warriors. It's the Killer Bee, which is basically a Baja Volkswagen Beetle with it's yellow with black stripes down the back and a honeycomb pattern on the front. I believe that's all done in decals. And the other kit that was part of this series was the Pink Poison, which was originally named Mr. Bad Wrench. It's actually a Jeep truck also, but you know, it's supposed to be a ladies' auxiliary road support truck that's been taken into usage. But of course, the Mr. Good Wrench didn't like the idea of somebody using Mr. Bad Wrench. So if you can actually find some of the early kits of this that do say Mr. Bad Wrench, you're in pretty good shape. But it's another pink Jeep, so they changed the name to Pink Poison. It was something I read on the web about it. So that's the series. That's what I'm currently working on. I probably will be putting this aside while I figure out something else, and I've got two other kits I wanted to work on. One is probably going to be a buddy build with Colonel Reb, which is my version, or my release, of the Kitty Hawk. That's the Wright Brothers Flyer. This is an earlier release than what he's building, and is not quite as nice. They did rework the molds. He also got how to build a diorama and thread. I have to supply my own thread, so that one I'll probably start working on. And another acrylic one that I've been wanting to do is the classic 1931 Lincoln Continental. I've actually found a color that's very close in the, I believe it's folk art, of that blue. The car actually is blue and not black. It comes molded in color, and since I'm running long anyway, I'll just pull it out real quick. And you can see it's a really dark blue. So that's probably the two upcoming projects while I ponder how I can finish my post-apocalyptic nightmare and get that going again. So maybe I'll set that aside and do it. I'll probably at least do the Kitty Hawk, and then we'll work from there. So I've probably taken up more of your time than I should, so I'll say thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody that's subscribed. I appreciate really all the great comments I've been getting. And take care of yourself. We'll see you later. Bye.